Hey, so just about to install. Oh, first of all, I'll just say, excuse the mo. They made me shave my beard for work, for the mask, but such is life. So we're going to fit the Nomad 20 litre onto the CRF450L. I've already started disassembling, taking the seat off, that's all. But this is the tank. Looks massive off. Hopefully it shrinks a bit once I get it on there. Comes with radiator guards, nice solid aluminium ones, and some mounting hardware. And I'm using my toolkit that I take on the road just to make sure I've got all the tools necessary, as I like to do. So I will keep disassembling. Okay, I've now got the standard tank out. So that's what you're left with. And comparison sizes of the two tanks, 20 litre, 7.5 or 5 gallon, 2 gallon. So now I've got to remove the fuel pump. So that's under here, so I'll get to doing that. You don't need to watch that. The fuel pump, this has been removed from the old titanium tank and it's going to go into here. So one thing that it mentions is just apply some rubber grease, so around the lip here, just to help the seal and to help the gasket slide in. Now the fuel pump's fitted into the Nomad tank. I just put some little marks to help me remember where it is, how everything lines up anyway. You use the standard spring washers and spacers and everything. They just supply you with different bolts instead of these nuts because you don't have the fixed bits. So anyway, all seem to fit in quite nicely. So now I think it's time to put the tank back in, or in. So next is to remove the plastic radiator guards, the standard ones, to fit the new aluminium radiator guards, which is I already see there's some damage there, so maybe having the guards is a good idea. Okay, the aluminium radiator guards, so you attach the horn to that. They have a little bracket that goes around the frame, and that holds the bottom. The top just clamp the normal brackets. So I think tank on next. Well, after a few snags, it's not bolted on yet, but it's sitting on. Sorry about the darkness in the garage here. I don't have very good lighting, but you can see it doesn't look too big once it's on. It certainly looks bigger, but it's purposeful. So my issue was fitting this bit. It's a bit fiddly, but it's doable. We just need to line all the screws up. This adjusts up and down and stuff, but that's good. But my biggest issue was, I thought it's not going to fit with the Vortex ECU because I just couldn't get it in there. So I thought maybe the Vortex is bigger than the standard. Went and got the standard. The standard's actually bigger than the Vortex. So that got me to pull all the rubber mounts off, and the people who installed it at the dealer, who shall be nameless, had this rubber round backwards. So this was on this side and it was pushing the ECU too far this way and it just would not fit. It's tight, but there is room around. So for those with ECU, the Vortex, it does fit if you install it correctly. Now I'll bolt it in and we'll fill it up. Oh, and the other thing is you need tiny little hands to be able to plug all the things back in, because there's a lot less access room than the standard tank, obviously, but it's doable. There's only two wires. There's the quick connect fuel hose and there is the fuel pump power. Voila. So for the really poor lighting, radiator guards come standard with it. Okay, now time to fill her up. So I did fill up, I put 1 litre in to rinse it out, and the 1 litre came up to about here on one wing. So that means people are worried about fuel getting up. So the idea is once it gets down to low enough in the wings, obviously the fuel pump, which is up here, is going to start to starve. So the idea is as you accelerate and as you just ride, the water splashes up over here and then down into a lower bit here, and there's 800 ml reservoir where the fuel pump is. So the idea is, apparently, under normal riding conditions, you should be able to use all of the fuel. If you're sitting at constant speed on the highway, you might need to throttle on to get that. But as I said, up to there is 1 litre, so that's 2 litres. Let's call it 3 or 4 litres either side, that until so you can use like 16 litres before you're going to have to even worry about that. So that's not too bad. Hopefully, that's the theory. See how it works anyway. Put some petrol on and see. That's 15 litres. So I put 5 litres in it first, and it came up to about here, and it ran. So that's up to there both sides. So you're not going to have fuel starvation issues until you're down to 5 litres. So if you started with a full tank at 20, that gives you 15 usable litres before you even, well, it'll still run with 15 litres used. After that, you've got to rely on the accelerating to bring it up to here. So you can see here it's slightly lower, so the idea is it goes up here, splashes over, and then drones down into the 800 ml reservoir for the fuel. I'm not sure how well that's going to go on really bumpy terrain, but still.